pursuant to Chapter 551, Title 5 of the Texas Government Code, the Texas Open Meetings Act, notice is hereby given that the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, in accordance with Article 5, Section 12 of the Charter of said city, will convene an executive session, a regular meeting on Tuesday, January the 17th, 2012, at 5:30 p.m. and 6 p.m. in the Commission Chambers on the second floor of the Brownsville City Hall, located at 1001 East Elizabeth Street, Brownsville, Cameron County, Texas. Executive session items. Item A, attorney consultation pursuant to Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code regarding a lawsuit styled and numbered as BFFA et al. Versus Brownsville, cause number 2009-126632-I in Cameron County, Texas. Executive session. Item B, discussion with legal counsel pursuant to Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code regarding pending litigation.
I entertain a motion.
Motion to move into executive session.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Did you get a notice that it was the girls that were intern? It was the girls that were intern.
You got the last one, so now I'm going to have a supermajority. Estella, we'll go ahead and continue with the meeting. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Red, are you doing the invocation?
Let us pray. Father God, we come to you in the name of Jesus Christ to once again ask for you to continue healing our city, our community. Lord, we thank you for those that are charged with protecting us. We ask you to continue to lead and guide them. Lord, I ask you to lead and guide every parent, every grandparent as we raise our children. Lead and guide us in this huge task. Help each of us to let our kids know how much we love them, how much we care about them, and give them the direction they need. Lord, I ask you to bless this commission here tonight. Lead and guide them as they deal with the issues that are before them. Give them divine wisdom. Lord, I ask you to bring all of us into unity in this meeting in a way that's good for the city of Brownsville. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Estella, the first item.
Action on items discussed in executive session. Item A, consideration and appropriate action, if any, to approve filing of an appeal in connection with a lawsuit styled and numbered BFFA versus Brownsville, cause number 2009-12-6632-I in Cameron County, Texas.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to authorize legal counsel to file an appeal.
Okay, second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item B, consideration and action on executive session item as advised by legal counsel in executive session.
Mark, does that require anything?
I don't think that's required.
Okay. All right.
No action.
Then no motion is required. Let me, Mayor's report. It's with great sadness of what I'm about to say, but as far as the Mayor's report, I would like to have a prepared statement on behalf of myself as well as the City Commission. We feel that it would be disrespectful of us if we did not say a few words acknowledging the recent incident that occurred in one of our local middle schools. We want to acknowledge the sense of sorrow and loss that we are sure has overcome the family and friends of those most directly affected. The incident at Cummings Middle School has put our city in the national and even international spotlight. And it goes without saying that the incident has affected our community as a whole. We want to recall that our civic community is ultimately made up of individuals who are part of a large network of human relationships, in families, at work, at school, in our places of worship, in the city itself, not to mention our state and our country. It is the individual people that make up the most basic framework of our community, and when they join together, their strength can bring healing and stability to a community like nothing else can. Please know that we are confident the various reviews and investigations into what happened, both internally and by outside agencies, will be done thoroughly and professionally. We are confident that this board, like everyone else, will exercise necessary patience and restraint to allow these processes and procedures to run their course and to yield their outcomes. Brownsville is and has and will always be a great community. Let's work together to make it even greater through our unity. Thank you. Commissioner's report. Commissioner Rosegown.
Yes, I'd like to remind everyone that we are now in the beginning stages of the Biggest Loser Challenge for 2012. Registration has registered 918 people, 188 females, 84 males, 121 small groups, and 13 large groups. Registration is still not over. That's not a final number. There's one other large corporation that will be doing a registration on site in a week. Please check the Biggest Loser website. There are a lot of free activities and educational classes and such that will be going on for the next 4 months, especially in partnership with our other sister entities in town. Lots of good information and learning available for our community, all free.
Thank you very much. Everybody's encouraged to join and make this a huge success for everybody. Proclamations.
Fire Captain Jose Luis Cáceres.
Jessica.
Jessica.
Thank you. Wow. Okay, so we're here today, and I am very, very proud of Captain Cáceres. He is an amazing hero that we are very lucky to have, along with all of our fire department. But let me go ahead and read the proclamation. A proclamation of the City Commission of Brownsville, Texas, commending Fire Captain Jose Luis Cáceres for actions above and beyond the call of duty. Whereas, on December 4, 2001, fire broke out in a residence at 346 Boise Court in the Rio del Sol subdivision, just off of FM 802 in Northeast Brownsville. And whereas, fortunately for the owner of the home and for some 20 animals inside of the home, Brownsville Fire Captain Jose Luis Cáceres lives nearby and was off that day, and without a moment's hesitation, ran into the home to provide what assistance he could. And whereas, using a garden hose, Captain Cáceres attempted to battle the blaze, which at this time had engulfed the home. And whereas, firefighters soon arrived and began fire suppression procedures, freeing some 15 dogs and cats that had been trapped inside of the burning home. And whereas the homeowner was severely burned and some animals were lost, but no doubt the situation would have been much worse if it had not been for the quick action of Fire Captain Jose Luis Cáceres, a member of the Brownsville Fire Department since May 7th, 1984. Now, therefore, we, the members of the City Commission of Brownsville, Texas, by virtue of the authority vested in the charter of said city, on behalf of all of our citizens, do hereby commend Fire Captain Jose Luis Cáceres for his quick thinking and the help he rendered on December 4th, 2011. Done on this 17th day of January, 2012. Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to praise Jesus Christ, the Lord and Savior. Honorable Mayor and Commissioners, thank you for this award. It's not only for me, it's for the rest of the department. I am a public servant, and I'm here to serve the public, and I did what anybody else in my position in our job would have done. Again, thank you, and especially thank you to Ms. Jessica for this award.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Captain.
Thank you, Captain.
Commissioner John, I think you're next.
Yes, I'm going to have Estella read it, and then I'll just add a little bit at the end.
Okay.
Is anyone here representing the team? Is anyone representing the team here? Okay. Okay.
They're all taller than you are, John.
They're even taller than me when I'm sitting down.
We'll stay up here. Stay up here.
Okay, a proclamation of the City Commission of Brownsville, Texas, congratulating the UTB-TSC women's volleyball team on its national championship performance. Whereas the University of Texas at Brownsville, Texas Southmost College women's volleyball team wound up the 2011 season with a record of 32-2, including a perfect 9-0 record in the Red River Athletic Conference, a major step in the team's eventual season-ending performance. And whereas the UTB-TSC women's volleyball team was ranked #1 for 8 weeks in the NAIA national polls, had 6 players named to the RRAC All-Conference team and 4 players named to the NAIA All-American team. And whereas on December 3rd, 2011, the team won the NAIA Women's Volleyball National Championship in Sioux City, Iowa. And whereas coached by Todd Lowry, Roberta Santos, and Sam Jones, team members include Michelle Marquez, Jennifer Calcano, Erica Chamac, Lauren Berlech, Paula Barros, Katharina Noble, Danica Markovic, Ana Guerra, Amber Brooks, Jennifer Kowalski, Ana Yeli Trevino, Belinda Carreon, and Vanya Yosik. Now therefore, we the members of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, by virtue of the authority vested by the charter of said city, and on behalf of all our citizens, do hereby congratulate the UTB-TSC women's volleyball team on its national championship performance. Done on this, the 17th day of January, 2012, signed by Antonio Martinez, Mayor and City Commissioners.
Okay. Thanks for the opportunity to speak, and thank you all for coming to let us recognize you. First of all, it means a lot to me to have you all here because I am an alum. I'm still very active at the university as on the alumni board, and it just means a lot to me and our community to have you all representing us at this level. Now, this proclamation wasn't just didn't come about just from me. It was actually a request from the entire community. I got a lot of calls for this, so I think you all should feel very special that you have the support of the entire city. I don't know if anybody else wants to add anything, but we're all very proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
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 Thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you for joining us today.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Just real quick, I'd like to thank the City Commission for this award, and also, like you said, thank the Brownsville community. Over the last 3 or 4 years, the support that we've been receiving since I've gotten to campus has just been phenomenal, and hopefully we can continue to build on the success that we've had. And really, this is up to the ladies that you see here and the ones that couldn't make it because they're already in class on the first night of school. So it really goes off to them, and couldn't be more proud of this group of young ladies. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you very much.
Presentation for Roy Reyes, City Forester.
Mayor, members of the commission, it's a good day for presentations to not only our UT, but some of our employees. Of course, our captain from the fire department just received this award. I want to bring up Salvador Almani, who is the regional urban forester for the Texas Forest Service. And about 10 years ago, we initiated the idea of having a beautification committee within the city. Along with that came a forester, someone that we could identify that could go and visit locations, look at our beautification efforts, look at our trees and things like that, and work with our community and our other departments in initiating projects that we feel or have been an asset to our city. With that, Roy Reyes is the city forester. Ray is going to receive a special congressional recognition for Mr. Alamani. So we recognize Roy, and thank you, sir, for being here with us. I introduce Mr. Alamani.
Good evening, City Mayor. Good evening, City Commissioners, and good evening, City Manager. On behalf of the Texas Forest Service, it's an honor for me to present this award to Roy Reyes. The award was given by the Congressman Ruben Hinojosa and reads, Certificate of Special Congressional Recognition presented to Roy Reyes, City Forester, City of Brownsville, in recognition of outstanding and invaluable service to the community. Signed by Ruben Hinojosa, date November 17, 2011. I have to add that we're very proud by the city of Brownsville. The city of Brownsville has a great tradition for urban forestry. The city of Brownsville has 2 unique distinctions. It is a Tree City USA and also a Tree Line USA. It's the only city in the valley that has those 2 distinctions. And only a few in the state have both 2. So not only that, the city of Brownsville hosted an urban forestry conference this last April. We had 22 speakers. None other urban forestry conference have had so many speakers in the state of Texas. So congratulations to the city of Brownsville. Congratulations to the commissioners, city manager, and to Roy Reyes. Thank you.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Roy, you care to say a few words? Appreciate all your work.
Yeah, I just want to thank you all for y'all's great support, the city managers, office, Greens Division, because I think without everybody working together, I don't think, we would be getting recognized like this. I plan to do a lot for the city, and I plan to stay here. I'm hoping, you'll keep me on board.
We don't want you to go anywhere, okay? But thank you again. I happen to have gone to that meeting that we're having. Hopefully we'll have some more meetings of the urban forestry group, okay? Thanks again.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Y'all do your homework, girls. Thank you, Captain. Estella, I think we now have the consent items.
Yes, sir. Consent agenda items A through D.
Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, I think Commissioner Gowan, is this next one yours, the board and commissions?
Item 6, consideration and action to appoint a city commissioner to the United Brownsville Board of Directors.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint the mayor, Tony Martinez, as the city representative.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 7, consideration and action to reappoint one member to the Civil Service Commission.
Charlie, that's you.
This is the three member Civil Service Commission mayor commissioners. My recommendation is that we reappoint Santiago Galarza Jr. He is at this time serving and his term is expiring. He wishes to be reappointed.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to reappoint Mr. Galarza.
Okay, he's a good guy. Anyway, second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed?
Please
Yep.
note my abstention.
Yeah, right, she,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. Number 8,
Number 8, consideration and action to appoint one member and one city commission representative to the Brownsville Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Charlie, they got you there?
The appointment calls for the appointment of a hotelier, and the application we have is for Mr. Paul Martin Hunter, who has applied and fits the requirements for a hotelier to be on the committee.
Okay, so you've got an application and
Yes,
he's
sir.
indicated a willingness to serve and has the time to serve?
Yes, sir.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Okay. Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, you've got a new member there.
Yes, and Commissioner Villar wishes to be appointed as the commissioner to that represents us there at the Visitors and Conventions Bureau as well.
Thank you, John. Do I
Well,
hear
I
a
think-
motion?
Move to appoint John Villarreal to the CDB.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, John.
I'm already done.
He's
Okay.
already working with
Um,
Public hearings?
Number 9,
Number 9, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 2012-1100.50, an ordinance to amend ordinance number 1100 by readopting the Heritage Plan and dealing with related matters, including $2,000 penalties.
Mr. Goodman?
Yes, good evening, Mayor, Honorable Mayor, and City Commissioners. I'm just going to take 2 minutes to read a little bit of our introduction that we understand we do this for 5 taxing entities every year. It's the way it's written, but since we have several new members, so let me take a minute. This year marks the 24th anniversary of the Brownsville Heritage Survey and Heritage Plan. The city code requires that the survey and plan be adopted at least once every year, and that again is by all 5 entities, taxing entities. The survey is intended to be an inventory of all existing and potential heritage sites in Brownsville. The survey also documents any changes to the sites that have occurred in the past year. The plan is intended to rank those sites according to their architectural and historical significance. The information in this update is used by the Brownsville Heritage Council to make recommendations to the Zoning Commission regarding modifications to the preceding year's Heritage Plan. Then the Zoning Commission makes its recommendation to the City Commission. The Planning and Zoning Commission approved this unanimously about a week ago. And I thought we'd just show you the buildings that we added, properties that we added this year. The Putenat building, which underwent a very large restoration of its brickwork, its transom windows were all put back, they had been gone. And all the cornice, the copper cornice was all repaired and replaced. The Manitou building on the corner of 12th and Washington has been totally renovated by one of the family members who purchased it, who happily is an architect. Unhappily, he lives in Orlando, Florida, but he does spend a lot of time here working on the building. Stevenson Motors Company, for some reason, had been overlooked for many years, and everybody said on the Heritage Council, well, how did we miss that one? So we finally got it on this year. That's a very nice little house that I should have shown you the before and the after of the work that was done on this place. It's a young couple that took it upon themselves to redo the whole face of the house, and it's just quite a difference. This is the old A's house. Again, a new owner who redid it. It had been in pretty bad shape, and the young man who bought it did quite a bit of work on it and brought it back to the point where at least I know Margaret Azis is happy with it. This is an unusual house in that there are only probably 2 Dutch colonials in the city of Brownsville. This one happily is being restored very faithfully, actually, slowly and faithfully. It's not an easy job. None of these are. The Hinojosa house, the owner actually went to the Texas Historic Commission and said, look, I want to do this properly. What do I do? They said the first thing you do, and there's a large addition in the back, is do not touch anything in the front of this house. Here's a photograph from 1947 when it was built. If you can make it look exactly the way it looked in 1947, same windows, same shutters, same everything, you're on the right track. And they went through an awful lot of trouble. There's also a lot of social history to this house. The Porter House in Los Ebanos is probably one of the finest examples of a Tudor house that you're going to find of that size any place in Brownsville. And it's been in that condition for quite some time. The owner sold it and moved somewhere else and decided they really loved it and bought it back and moved back in again, and they've done a great job keeping it up. Del Francis Apartments, those are on the corner of Palm Boulevard and Ebony. You've probably seen them 100 times. They're really, again, a new owner on 2/3 of the property, and he took it upon himself to redo the entire outside and redo well, he did a lot of work inside too, but what he did outside was to recreate it faithfully the way it was in the 1920s. The Pitt House is a rather unique one, also on Palm Boulevard, in that the owner, aside from renovating it, everybody wonders, where do I find pictures, where do I find this, where do I get the history? The folks who sold him the house had all the history from the time the house was built, postcards, letters, drawings, everything was in the house. So he was able to put it back brick by brick, piece by piece, inside and out. It's quite an undertaking, as you might imagine, but it really pays off, and it's a beautiful house. And those are the ones that we added for this year, and what we're asking the commission to do, obviously, is to re-adopt our heritage plan for 2012.
Okay, this is a public hearing.
I have something to say. Roberto Ureste. a lot of people in District 4 fall into this district plan. There's so many houses falling apart, mainly are apartments, and you've seen it down there in Elizabeth, Washington, and all those areas, even the downtown. The problem is a lot of people, and I was born in 747 East Tyler Street, across the old convent school that I went there with Sister Aloysius in 1955. Now, a lot of people, when I ran for office, were hindered in trying to fix their houses, even paint their houses. They were complaining, saying that the heritage system is denying them the right because they got to follow those rules. You have to look, if you haven't seen this, Mayor, go down the streets. The houses are falling apart. Some just have canvas on top of the roofs. If you don't believe me, just go down there. There's going to have to be a way, because if you're going to let these houses fall apart, because one time Mr. Goodman came here, and I didn't like the way he treated a woman up here because they wanted to change that house. And I remember you all, what happened on that deal. And I didn't like that. Not to put down our citizens, because somebody buys the property, they cannot afford a $200,000, $300,000 makeover. A lot of people like to paint their houses, but they're afraid because even the paint has to be approved by the system. So you need to come up with a new type of system in which the people can fix their places up and make Brownsville look beautiful. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Art. Anyone else? I'll entertain a motion to close public hearing.
So moved to close.
Second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Public hearing is closed. Action item, I hear a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank
I
you.
would just like to comment that the lady that Mr. Oreste is discussing wanted to demolish the house.
Yes, she
not
did.
fix it up. That was number one. Number two is we issue what's called a release letter for roofs. Within 5 minutes of a request from buildings, a release letter is issued. We have never denied anybody to repair their roof or paint their house.
Okay.
And we do hundreds of applications a year, and they're all approved. So,
And if I recall, that individual also knew of the requirements prior to purchase of the home.
yes, she did.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Goodman. Okay, item number 10.
Item number 10, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 2012-1452-D, an ordinance to amend Chapter 328, Signs, Article 2, Construction, Maintenance, and Landscaping Specifications, Section 328-11E, Political Signs.
Good morning, Mayor and members of the Commission. Basically, this is an amendment of the existing city political sign ordinance. The Texas legislature some time ago passed a law which basically prohibits a city from regulating certain kinds of political signs. Therefore, what we needed to do is we needed to bring the city's existing sign ordinance in terms of the way it deals with political signs into conformity with state law. So basically that for purpose of this ordinance, a political sign is one which meets the following criteria. Number one, it contains the noticing and disclosure provisions required by the election code. It's placed with the consent of the owner on private real property outside the city right of way, has an effective area of no larger than 36 feet. It's no more than 8 feet in height. It's not illuminated, has no moving parts. It is not a sign such as a billboard that contains a political message on a temporary basis, and it's not placed on real property subject to an easement or other encumbrance that allows the city to use the property for a public purpose. Basically, as long as a sign meets those criteria, the only requirement on it would be that it be removed 10 days after the election. And that would be to bring the city's existing sign ordinance as it applies to political signs in conformity with state law.
I have a question. Mayor, I have a question.
Sure.
Mr. Saucy, when can signs be put up?
Well, it wouldn't be governed by, it would be governed by the election code when campaigning starts. So whatever the election deadline for a campaign would be, that would be when your political sign would go up.
Okay, so when do you plan on addressing the issue concerning the dates for elections being moved and up in the air?
I wouldn't address the issue. The Texas legislature has specifically stated that municipalities cannot regulate this. So basically, whatever the deadline is in the election code for the day the campaigning starts, that would be the date that people can start putting up political signs. And I think that was the legislature's purpose in the first requirement, that it contained the notice and disclosure provisions required by Texas Election Code 255001. So it's basically impossible for us to set a deadline, because that deadline would depend on when the election is, and would depend on what the deadline that's set by the election code for the beginning of campaigning.
Well, how do you suggest we address that issue? Because we have signs up now, and with the election dates being moved so frequently and at a much later date, we're going to have signs up for months and months and months. So how do you propose we address that?
Well, what I propose is the Texas legislature has specifically directed that as long as these signs meet these requirements, the municipality cannot regulate those signs. So the only thing that I'm proposing is the same thing the Texas legislature directed the city to do some time ago.
Commissioner, unfortunately, this is the battle of the redistricting and all of those issues that are before the Supreme Court. And unfortunately, I think what the wisdom of the candidates, according to what their parties are saying, is that since we have no set date, that they're going ahead and allowing all these folks to go forward. And we have, from what I can gather from the different opinions that come across my wire, is that there's no way to keep them from doing what they're doing. And that's unfortunately, because it's going to be a long time, I think. And but we have no jurisdiction on that. I know that part, because we did ask the TML, because I was trying to figure out whether there was any way that we could limit that. But looks like we're in for a long political year.
Yeah, I mean, I may not agree with what the legislature has done, but they've basically taken this out of the hands of the cities and basically said this is going to be regulated by the election code. And I realize your concern, Commissioner, it's certainly a valid concern, but the legislature has basically taken this away out of our hands.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyway, public hearing, anyone else? I will entertain a motion to close public hearing.
Motion to close.
Okay, second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now, an action item. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carries. Okay.
Item 11, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 235-2011-038-S to allow heavy industrial recycling center on a medium industrial classification for 7.5 acres out of Lot 4, Block 213 of El Jardín re-subdivision located near South Padre Island Highway and FM 511.
Honorable Mayor and City Commission, this item was discussed at the last meeting with instructions of staff and the City Secretary to verify petition. We have done that, and if the City Secretary can put the map on the screen, and what you have here, Mayor, is what we have verified as property owners protesting this zoning case. As you can see from the residential side, those lots that have been highlighted are people against the zoning case. To the north, across State Highway 48, you have a property owner that is within the ring of the 200-foot radius, also protesting. A big tract of land to the east side of this property. A few minutes ago, conversing with the property owner over the last couple of days, finally got an email from him protesting this property case as well. So, so there is a supermajority requirement vote for this case. Also, the attorney for the applicant made a request to me of possible tabling, but that's your decision. But now this is a public hearing, and the vote will have to be a majority of the City Commission.
Well, it's got to be when you say a majority, it's got to be a supermajority.
Supermajority.
To get this thing passed.
Yes.
So what does a supermajority mean, Mr. Lawyer?
Supermajority in this sense is 6, Mr. Mayor.
You're going to have 6 votes for, and if you have even just 1 vote against, it doesn't pass. Is that right?
That's
and,
correct.
And Mr. Mayor, I would also request that the document, the petition that I handed you before the meeting with that signature be entered by you with the City Secretary with the records of the Commission.
That's correct. In the city packet, there are the other signatures
for that I mentioned on the map.
Okay, I want the record to fully reflect whatever it is that we're handing to the city secretary or records that were handed to me that would support the idea that you have a 20% opposition and you have to have a supermajority. It's a public hearing.
6, the statute says 6.
Okay, Ben, my question to you, what's the total number of people affected within the 200 feet? Because, you know, I know you have some that are blacked out.
Yes,
Okay.
those are the people protesting.
Okay.
That's right. And when you have a petition, you go by land area. So you have, you can count the lots there. There are about 10 lots on the bottom and 2 property owners on the north side. Okay? So you have maybe about 12 individuals, property owners.
12 property owners, and you said 6 of them signed? Or
No,
only
no, no,
four?
no, no. All 12 have signed the petition against, a petition against this zoning case. So you go by land area, and 20% of that ring in there, as long as you have 20%, it will require a supermajority of the city commission.
Okay, that's for it, okay. I'm trying to get this thing down, because if everybody would sign a protest, that means 100% of the individuals. But we're talking about 20% of the land area in order to get, in that ring to get this thing. So we get the whole thing. The city of Brownsville has a mission statement, and I know that all of you know it. Mission statement of Brownsville says to earn and maintain public trust by providing customers efficient and quality municipal services with courtesy and concern. My concern is customers. It shouldn't be there. And since we're saying customers, the individuals within that area are already asking you to please listen to their concerns. They don't want it. I'm hearing both sides. I heard both sides outside. I work with the people in that area because I taught at Rivera High School for 9 years. And I know a lot of students live there, a lot of people got married, and they're asking, and we said it last time, if you let them come in, what's going to happen in the future? Anything can happen. There's a complaint saying that you cannot go into the Port of Brownsville to recycle anything. We have other recycling centers here in Brownsville too. I know that Wilkinson is a bad one, they said, but that's an opinion because I cannot say it. I go there, live things too. There's El Zapato, and there's another one down on, I think, on 511. We do have already recycling, or people that can throw their scrap and iron away. But we're listening now to an individuals within that scope that's been affected. Will they be affected? We don't know. Down the road, it could happen, sir. So I'm asking for all of you. It says right here, concern. And you must be concerned of what's going on. I will say one more thing. I did not like what happened at the last meeting downstairs. I talked to the chief of police. There was a little negative calls being said, and it's not appropriate to call the people that live in that area names. They work hard for their houses. They work hard to keep their children there and go to school and pay taxes. But to put down the citizens in that area, it's not appropriate. And like you said at the beginning of this, we need to work together. And they're asking for your help. That's all they're asking. If I was up there, I would vote no. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
Good evening. My name is Dennis Sanchez, and I've been asked by the landowner to make a request of you all. The perception of the public is that this is going to be a quasi-shipbreaking facility where they're cutting iron, cutting steel, scrapping things, shredding things. But if you were to look at it closely, you would see that none of that is what has ever been proposed. Essentially, what they're asking to do is to collect aluminum, cans and turn them into cubes. There's not going to be any shredding occurring. There's not going to be any cutting occurring. It's going to be, once it's cubed, then it's going to be taken to the Port of Brownsville so that it can be shredded. It's part of a green initiative to collect stuff and then ultimately sell it to the shredding facilities. Now, the way that this has been brought to this board is as if it is a heavy industry. I personally don't believe it is. I think it's probably right on being a medium use industry. And I've seen the pictures, I've seen the drawings. If you compare it to the neighbor, which is a heavy equipment crane facility, you're going to see that there's one that's going to have a 10-foot wall around it with bushes to hide even the aluminum cans, and the other one is operating as a heavy equipment industrial facility. We've asked that this be tabled so that we could sit down with the city planners and see if it does in fact merit being classified as heavy industrial use or medium industrial use. If it is classified as medium industrial use, there's no need to be bringing it to the board here. If it is, then of course it has to be laid on your desk for a decision. But I would ask, if you decide to proceed with this anyway, that you look at the photos and that you look at the drawings and look at the qualifications and restrictions which the owner has volunteered to place on the property. They're not trying to get something passed here so that then they can bring in a shredding machine 6 months from now. That's not it. They're here and they're making representations and they're agreeing to be bound by classifications and restrictions which would prevent that. So that's the dilemma. And so for that reason, we would ask that this be tabled so that we can look at it more and see if we can bring it to the proper authority so that they can look at it with a, from a perspective of that it's not going to be a recycling shredding facility, which is what everybody thinks it is. And yes, if this was a Wilkinson shredding facility like we've got over here on 14th Street, I'd agree, but it's not. So what needs to be looked at is investigated a little bit more. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, do I hear a motion to close?
I believe there's somebody else that wants
I'm sorry,
to
there's
speak.
one more. I apologize to you, sir.
Okay, first, I'd like to know if this company's had any violations in the past from the committee?
What was the question?
Has this company had any violations before and problems?
I don't, the planning and zoning.
It's a new company. Okay, a new company. Okay, what I'd like, I spoke to the people where Wilkinson's is. Okay, they explained to me just like he did. They came up here, they said there was just going to be aluminum and this was going to be somewhere else and everything was going to be grinded somewhere else. All this was going to happen. And then when they applied, there was nobody. I'm just a muscle. I heard everybody, I showed the names, and I represented them. And this is something, I see it again, it's going to happen again. And are we going to have two Wilkinsons, one out in the city, one in the city, and one on the steps of the city? No. Lots of birds in our community. All these birds right here, all these birds, many birds right now, they're living and they're alive. But if this company gives us a story that's been given to us before, we're going to suffer again. That's one way. And another way is, this is my daughter. She'll be attending right here. See this school right here? This is Rivera, and this is Vermilion. That's a field right there. That's a field right there where she'll be running and playing in the future. That future soon, what'll happen is they'll be all contaminated, slowly, eventually. Wilkinson's promised it was going to be aluminum to these people that I spoke to. I see them suffering. Why? They believed it at the last minute, like right now. All that was nice. It sounded good. And it also sounded good when he said that they'll be collecting refrigerators, stoves, washers, dryers, microwaves, taking them off the lawns. I spoke to some of these dealers. These dealers say some people just don't want to get rid of them, but they're willing and they pay. They'll pay you what is 750 pounds worth. Your refrigerator does not weigh 750. Your washer does not weigh 750. All these materials do not weigh 750, but they'll pay it to you as if it weighed 750. It's good pay, but it makes no sense what they're saying, that they're going to take something that's worth more to grind it to make it less. I don't think so. And a lot of people are going to be hurt. A lot of people. There's been a lot of things in the papers. There's been, you know, you have to think about it. For us, for our city, are we going to let this city be turned into this again so that we all suffer? I suffer just to think about it. And people ask me, why is it, what is it to me? What is it to me? Well, it is that's in my district. That's where my child's going to go, to this school. My little child, this little girl right here, this little girl. If you do this to her now, so if somebody would have known that Wilkinson's was going to be like that, when the person just like right now explained that it's not going to happen here, it's going to be grinded, well, let's give them a place for it. There's lots of room in the port. There's a lot of room in the port. Let them show first. If they can show us first, then there's already a lot of businesses that are collecting refrigerators and stoves and washers and dryers, and they pay good. Why do they pay good? Because they're trying to keep it away from out of the junk. They'll pay them more. And for this company to tell us this, that all sounds good. I thought about it too. It does sound good. But this life of this child right here, and many that are going to be just like her later in the future, that will be affected. The winds, they shift. They shift. Winds don't just go towards the community. They'll fly towards the school. And the school's right here. And if you want to wake up the principals, maybe the petition I brought you was as one, but it's the schools representing all the children from the whole district there. Hold on. It just hurts me to see this. It hurts me. Let's don't let this happen to this community. It's just gonna hurt. It's gonna devaluate. I have the person on the left here, on the left, they signed. They're not blackened in. The two, Mr. Cumberworth in front, he signed. The son of the owner on the right, they signed. The three properties that I see there, they're in Monterrey. One of the letters over here is going to arrive late. His signature, their signature. Everybody's tried to sign. We all know, because we want Brownsville to be beautiful. And I also spoke to many businesses that have arrived. I spoke to people that work for these franchises all along this international. They disagree because they serve these companies, but they live there. And they're all going to be affected. This is going to wipe us all out. This is just going to slowly, but eventually. Wilkinson did it too, just like he said, just aluminum. We're just going to have aluminum. I'm nervous.
Yeah, I know. Hello, Mayor, Commissioner.
I'm just a muscle.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. I mean, you know, I just wanted to bring up a couple of points, and I basically have 4 points that I want to bring up with. One is the signatures. I really hope that y'all listen to all the residents that left behind Rivera and Vermilion. It's located in a school area, and another thing is that I wanted to bring up is that place where they're planning to put the recycling center. I mean, it's not the appropriate area. I mean, you need to put this in the Port of Brownsville. I think there's like 40,000 acres, somewhere like that. That's basically designated for the Port of Brownsville. I mean, if they would build it by where the U-Pull it or, past 511, because I mean, when I see 511 and 802, I look at that huge recycling center, and it's an eyesore. I mean, last week, 2 weekends ago, I mean, one of the gentlemen said, that he pointed that out. That said, hey, this is really bad looking, because a lot of tourists go through there. Because we're gonna head from South Padre Island. You take 511, head South Padre Island, and you see that big old thing. Another complaint that I want to, another thing that I want to say is the precedence that if you put that recycling center right there, later on, what's to say that they won't bring up another license to, bring in a shredder, bring in something else. I mean, I know that, he says that, you're going through the EPA, and he went through OSHA and all these other, environmental protection agencies, you know? And the thing is, like, well, so does Wilkinson's. They're going by OSHA. They're going by the EPA, you know? But guess what? It's stink in the city. We don't like it. I don't like it. I mean, you know? I mean, I don't see that in any other city. Harlingen, I don't think they have a scrap yard, you know? San Antonio, Austin. If you can name another city that has a scrap yard, in the, you know, right in the smack middle of the city, I'd like to see that. And that's another thing. Recycling centers, well, scrap metal yards, because like I see the you know, the what they want to call it as a recycling center, but I mean, if we stick to what it's really called, it's a scrap metal yard. You know, they shouldn't belong inside the city limits. They need to be outside of the city limits. You know, in the designated area like the Port of Brownsville. And I mean, if y'all take a look, I mean, do y'all receive any complaints from residents on Wilkinson's scrap metal yard? No? Yeah, I know. I'm pretty sure you do,
Yeah.
you know? And were you receiving complaints before they had the metal shredder? Pretty sure you, maybe not. But I know after you put in that shredder, you got a whole bunch of complaints and people didn't like it. And you know, y'all still went through with it. So I mean, you know, I hope y'all have the, you know, make up the right choice to get this down.
Thank you very much.
Not have it here.
We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Buenas tardes,
Buenas tardes.
A todos, a cada uno de ustedes. Mi nombre es Erlinda Peña y vengo sobre lo mismo, sobre el terreno. Ya no queremos, por favor, más contaminación ahí. En el tiempo de calor también, donde se tira la basura, huele hasta la colonia. Ellos dicen de su negocio, claro que ellos van a defender lo de ellos, nosotros vamos a defender lo de nosotros. Y ustedes están en los puestos para ayudarnos. La gente que vota, vota por ustedes porque cree en ustedes. Yo no voto, pero como mis hijas y mi esposo que votan, creen en ustedes y están creyendo que les van a hacer caso. Cuando andan pidiendo el voto, pues todo el mundo ahí anda pidiéndolo. Y ya cuando en estas necesidades no hay quien te ayude. Yo le recomiendo a la persona que quiere comprar que antes se compre una casa ahí al cruzar el canal y después ponga el negocio para que sepa lo que se siente. Nosotros ya tenemos con el canal, no necesitamos más. Necesitamos la ayuda de ustedes, no necesitamos más que el canal que tenemos y queremos que los niños vivan a gusto, los que viven ahí. Queremos que nos ayuden, por favor, cada uno de ustedes. Para eso están, para servir a la comunidad. Por favor. Gracias.
Gracias. Y habló mejor que los hombres, ¿eh?
Yes, sir. My name is Dwayne Hart, and I just moved to Brownsville. Me and my wife bought a home. I'm one of them black houses along the right there. I love Brownsville. I love my home. If I had known there was going to be a recycling center trying to come in there, I would have not have bought a home in Brownsville. I would have stayed in Arkansas where I wouldn't have to worry about that. You know, I'm concerned about the health of my kids. I have a neighbor that has asthma. What are the health risks involved for us now, later on, 15, 20, 30 years from now? I happen to have a friend that they live on the side of something like that, and it has affected their property drastically. They can't grow nothing there, nothing from chemicals getting into the ground from it and everything. You know, so I'm concerned. I mean, I just don't think it's fair. I mean, because there's so much land all around. As somebody said on 511, why can't it go out there? I mean, because we have our homes and our families to be concerned about.
Well, thank you for voicing your opinion, and welcome to Brownsville.
Mm-hmm. Can I say something?
Sure.
Can I say something? I do want to reassure the residents that live in these areas. Again, my priority was to create jobs. But more importantly, your voice matters more. and what you want, I want you to know that I hear you, and I want you to know that you do make a difference. And I want to encourage, not just you, but everybody that lives in the city of Brownsville. You have a voice, and you know how to use it. And I want everybody to remember this effort as a very good example of what teamwork is. And I want to commend these people. Mr. Gracia for coming forward. I want to commend Ms. Peña, Mr. Tucker, Mr. Snelson, everybody. I want to commend you because as a commissioner, you have certain goals and things that you want to meet. And sometimes you forget about, you know, these little voices, they do matter, and your homes do matter. And again, Dutch Fisher is an amazing realtor, but my loyalty lies to, it's not just the voters. I don't care if you vote or not, you and your family are more important to me. And I want you to know that that one vote is here and I'm an A.
Okay. I will entertain a motion to close public hearing.
Motion to close. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Now we have the action item. Is there a motion on the floor?
I'd like to make a motion. Motion to, wait a minute, deny. Motion to deny.
Okay, you have a motion to deny this request. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion to deny this request, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. It shall be denied, Mr. Medina.
Thank you.
-042 to rezone from dwelling G classification to light commercial J classification for .99 acres out of Lot 1, Block 1 of Home Place replat located at 1600 North Expressway, 7783.
Honorable Mayor and City Commissioners, this is a property shaded in red. This is the Tipitex Chevrolet dealership. They're expanding into the rear side for parking for their automobiles. Planning and Zoning Commission voting unanimously to approve this application to you. This is public hearing.
It's a public hearing. If not, I'll entertain a motion to close public hearing.
Motion to close.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Public hearing is now closed. Action item. Entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 13, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 235-2011-043-S to allow apartments on a medium industrial classification for 9.0 acres out of Share 28 of Espiritu Santo grant located near FM 802 and Coulter Road.
Honorable Mayor and City Commissioners, this is the property shaded in red. It's actually a down zoning. And here, what the applicant would like to have is some apartment complexes. Plan and Zoning Commission voted unanimously to approve this application to you.
Okay, public hearing. If not, I'll entertain a motion to close public hearing.
Motion to close.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, public hearing is closed. Action item. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Can I ask a question first?
Sure.
Why is this designated as medium industrial? What's
Oh.
nearby?
Yes, Commissioner, as you can see from the red color, this area, I'm sorry, the gray color is the zoning that the property has. So in an industrial zoning classification, residential is not allowed. So they have to down zoning. And that's what we're proposing to do with this case, to down zone the property so these apartments can be built. And it's really an area that is not, which we need to do a little bit more work on, not really conducive to industrial development because of the residential that has occurred. And with the zoning case, the industrial will not happen in the surrounding areas because you're setting the precedent here if you do approve this.
So there is property adjacent to this property that continues to be medium industrial.
That's correct, and we will do a city, it's in our plan at the P&Z, that we will do a city-initiated rezoning case to downzone that property.
Well, shouldn't we do that first? Because I see this as conflicting with the action we just took with the previous agenda item. I mean, it's. that's just
Is
my
it the
opinion.
same property owners for the entire?
No, there's different property owners.
No, it's
Well, then-
different, but we're approving residential in a medium industrial, and then we just declined that in the previous item.
Same owners?
That's correct. There's some same owners, but not all of the property.
It's a joint, both of the owners are here, and there are the same owners, and they agreed already to do the application to lower the other area to the industrial, to
What
the
they
commercial.
applied for here is, they're the same owners, but the application tonight is only for a specific piece of property. But we'll do a city-initiated to rezone the remaining parts of the property to downzone that.
Well, shouldn't we do that first prior to approving residential? Are we pushing the cart before the horse?
I think that would be a good idea.
Listen, Commissioner, you have a good point, and Ben, I would suggest that, maybe you guys would think of about a motion to table and address that issue.
It's already in the process, so it's going before the Plan Zoning Commission.
It's not been done yet. I make a motion, are we still in public hearing?
No, I mean, I'll entertain a motion to table if that's what the wish of the commission is. Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, motion carries.
Thank you.
Mayor, I'll just abstain on this one simply because I just got here, and my sincere apologies, I got held over in another meeting.
Not a problem, Commissioner. Item number 14.
Item 14, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 235-2011-044-S to allow a duplex on a dwelling A classification for a 70 by 132-foot lot of Lot 1, Block 17 of Riverside subdivision located near 15 Mason Lane.
Honorable Mayor and City Commissioners, this is the property shown in red. The applicant would like to have a duplex on this proposed site. There was some opposition at the Plan Zoning Commission from the residents immediately adjacent to this property. One of the gentlemen is here, and he did submit a letter of a neighbor to the Plan Zoning Commission. But the Plan Zoning Commission approved this application. So it's here before you. This is a public hearing. It is a specific use. There is a site plan for the duplex rendering and facade. So, but it was protested.
Commissioners, this is public hearings. Anybody have any comments from the public or commissioners? Do y'all have any questions?
Who is opposed?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry?
Who is opposed?
This is your district, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's back there in Riverside. I met briefly with Ben today. It's towards the very back of Riverside. Now, if you go down that street, you'll notice most are single-family dwellings. There are some duplexes that popped up right on Riverside. A lot on Elizabeth Street. They're on the west side, and the residents did comment that they would like to see it remain a single-family dwelling. I mean, just the value it has in knowing your neighbors and not having to move in and out all the time. I did speak to several of the residents, the immediate residents and down the street also, and I didn't run into anyone that was in favor. A couple were indifferent, most were opposed. So I just wanted to add that.
Okay, would it be fair, Commissioner, that is the majority of the houses single dwelling homes? Is that?
But there are other duplexes in that area.
Well, no, they're all residential in this specific street. The duplexes are further to the north on Riverside, which is a collector street.
Which is a what? I'm sorry.
A collector street. It's a little bit wider, carries more traffic. It's sort of like the avenue or the funnel that takes people out of the residential Mason Street here, for example, and moves them over into downtown and to Elizabeth and all that. So it collects the traffic and it takes them out of those neighborhoods. So it's a more highly traveled thoroughfare, and that's where you have, you're in your corners. That's where you have businesses and you have apartments, which carries a little bit more traffic flow.
In that subdivision, though, are there other duplexes?
Yes, there are other duplexes on right there in that red. Somebody's signing that red thing, but okay. So there's some duplexes in those big lots. You see, there's some duplexes there. So that's basically the concentration of duplexes that have been approved through a specific use application. As you can see, that's a little bit wider street, and it directly goes into Riverside, and Riverside does have some bigger lots, bigger homes. So that's where you're more conducive to the multifamily type, okay, from a planning perspective. But when you get into the neighborhoods themselves, you want to hold true to your single-family residential lot structure and uses. That's why you don't want to see businesses right in the middle of Mason and that intersection there. So you kind of want to discourage that. You want to put them where the traffic is at. So that's the case that you have before us tonight. Is somebody introducing a residential use, but 2 families on 1 lot. You have a duplex. And in your packet, you have the site plan of what the duplex will look like, but it's not a single-family home. It's a rental home.
Historically, you and I have been through several of these cases, and I've had several that have come back a couple of months later because something was changed or done. Now, what we as a city commission need to take eye to is that they have been approved by the planning and zoning, therefore they have been screened. Yes, there is opposition, but this was not a contested issue. When it's coming before us as a city commission, it's coming already approved through P&Z. It's already been through the P&Z board. If you look at the application fee, they paid a $500 application fee. Take a look at the site plan. This is not a shabby built duplex. It should help the area with their values. Now, if the neighbors contested, people are losing homes like crazy in the city. And they are looking for duplexes, they're looking for apartments, they're looking for anything that they can move into right now. If we have something that has already come pre-screened to us already and approved, this had the language read contested, coming to the city commission because of being a contested case. The citizens were here, they're complaining. I would understand. But this is coming to us from P&Z, unanimously recommended for approval, and everything looks to be in place from the package that we're given. I think it would be a harsh or grave mistake just to deny somebody simply because somebody was opposed in the neighborhood and they didn't come by to our meeting to express what it is exactly that they have. I respect Commissioner going out there and speaking to the people and getting their opinion, but this is something that's coming to us already approved from P&Z, and that's just my 2 cents on it.
And Commissioner, with all due respect, you've never gone against the unanimous recommendation of a board or a commission?
When it's something that I see that would be in a hindrance to maybe to a community or to something, but simply building a duplex and making an assumption of who might move in there or who might not. It's totally something that we really shouldn't be.
Well, I believe there's a difference between assumptions and concerns, and Commissioner Villarreal has a valid concern along with his constituents.
And the vote is the vote. I'm just saying that, this is not a cheap process for the applicant to go through when they come to us. And, somebody's bringing two perfectly good units where somebody could live. Who knows who could go in there? And we're denying it simply because, there was a couple of phone calls made.
And Ben, just to I'm concerned about the process, okay? I really am. I think that we need to try to get together with the planning and zoning and try to do a little bit different than what's going on right now. The commissioners, I would urge everyone to study the way the planning and zoning process works. But there is the concern on one hand of people spending money and then coming here and having the process, come to a screeching halt after some money has been spent. And then there's also concerns that, we're kind of streamlining it where not all the concerns are being voiced as they should be. So somewhere along there lies the answer. But public hearing, do I hear a motion to close public hearing?
Actually, I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
Ben, I spent some time with you and Ramiro even this week or last week talking about a different, how would you describe it? A process of planning and zoning that many, a more quote-unquote modern way of doing it that many communities like Austin and others are moving towards. If we had such a system in place, would this type of thing not be taken care of without all of the
It definitely would, Commissioner. It's a good point that you bring that up. Even the recycling case would have been solved at the Planning and Zoning Commission level. And that's through the process of a Unified Development Code, which we're proposing.
Well, yeah.
And it's a big task, and we're going to be asking this commission for an investment, also the United Brownsville. And that's the way to go.
I suggest a workshop, guys,
that's
somewhere along the line, because I think we're having this many questions at this stage of the game, and it's not just happening once or twice, it's happening a whole lot. And I think we need to kind of start looking at it. So that's my suggestion.
And immediately, Mayor, what I'm going to propose at next City Commission meeting is appointment of some planning and zoning commissioners that need to be reappointed. Or new commissioners to be appointed. And hopefully we can do that at the next meeting, because it's very important that we have a good board that can look through this matter.
Ben, you said when I spoke with you guys last week that you would be ready to do a workshop soon.
We are ready to do it at a moment's notice. We have our presentation.
Okay. Well, Estela, we could figure that somehow or another, set it up, and hopefully get the commissioners' input where they're going to be hopefully in town, and as well as I would love to be there myself. So if you could just check, let's see what we can do as quickly as possible. Do I hear a motion to close public hearing?
Motion to close.
All those, I guess that looked like a motion and a second all at the same time. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Now the action item. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to deny the request?
Motion to deny a request.
Second.
All those in favor of the motion to deny?
Aye.
Okay. You want to take, You want to take, let's go ahead and take a hand vote of deny. You got Commissioner Villarreal, Commissioner Gowan, Commissioner Zamora, Melissa, Tetro, so that motion carries. Public comment period. I think we have one. 16.
Item 16, consideration and action on resolution number 2012-003 to request financial assistance from the Texas Water Development Board for construction of additional sewer infrastructure and first-time sewer services to the residents of the FM 511-802 Colonia project areas, to authorize the city's financial advisors, bond counsel, and engineers to coordinate the submission of the application to the Texas Water Development Board and other matters in connection therewith.
Honorable Mayor and members of the City Commission, my name is David Abreu, in place of Genoveva Gomez, Director at the Water and Wastewater Engineering Department. This is a resolution that is up for passing that was already approved by the Commission back in, I believe, early October. This is for a grant funding on colonial projects in the 511-802 project area. The first resolution that was passed by the Commission and also by our PUB board was permission to go and apply to the Water Development Board for $20 million. And the amount on the first resolution was initiated by a quote from the Water Development Board on the availability of funds. At the time that we came back to turn in the application in late November, the funding of the actual total project is in the amount of about $26 million. And so the resolution should represent the total funding of the project, not just what's available at the Water Development Board. So that's why we have a revision, and it's the same resolution, just we're going to be applying for more money.
Okay, this is an action item.
Before we take an action item, I'd say to you the same thing I told to Gigi.
Yes, sir.
One of the major problems that I'm having with this fund is that when it gets awarded at PUB, that these contractors are coming in, they're doing a very good job, and, you know, by far for me to say no to federal money. But I'm having to have my public works or my engineering department having to go in right now because they did work on one side of the street to fix the problem, and they paved that part of the street when those same trucks were working on the opposite side, left it not in the condition that it was before they got there. And now, to alleviate the problem, because PUB is not going to go back to do it. In other words, I'll give you an example. Go to East Avenue right now. They did this. And there's a piece right there that's off. Now, with wear and tear, it'll end up smoothing out or whatever, but that's not good enough for the people that live there. So when this goes out and gets awarded, if we need to sit down, if there needs to be a match from the city, if there needs to be a match because it won't follow some kind of a federal guideline, please let us know. We can reach an interlocal agreement. There is always something that we could do so that at the end of that project, that citizen that lives on that street is not going to be contacting either us. They have every right to contact us, and they have every right to come and tell us. But there's no excuse. You know, I'm having to answer to so many people right now because, you know what, Commissioner? Thank you so much, because through the whole process, now we have better drainage, and now we have better, you know, for runoff. But look at my street. You know, and that's something, if it can be addressed, like I said, if the guidelines to which the grant comes with says that they can only pave that half of the street or that part of the street, let us know so that we can help you in some way, or so that the money can be set so that when they're there, that contractor can get, because I understand, we deal with contractors all the time, okay? And they're gonna say, well, we can't cover those 50 feet. Well, you know what? Bill me for your labor hour, or whatever you want to bill me for, but get it done. So that at the end of the project, those citizens are going to be able to have a beautiful project that they can take ownership of, and the city and PUB can be proud of saying, you know, we did it together, and thus this is what you have.
Thank you, Commissioner Longoria, and I agree totally. On the previous project that we did out on Southmost Oklahoma Road, Valle Hermoso, Valle Escondido, those colonias out there, we had a similar situation, and the way we handled it is we negotiated with the contractor, and it was within approval of the Water Development Board's funding abilities, and we worked out something with the county and with the contractor to make sure that the roads were paved. So
and those
we'll do our very best to make sure that we can do the same thing in
and
considering
those, just for clarification, those are county roads.
Sure.
Which is fine. I mean, but
sure.
I represent the city.
Sure.
And
absolutely.
within the inner city,
sure.
my streets.
Sure.
You know, it's great. You know, we got the people out there that live in the county, the proper service.
Absolutely.
And they have beautiful streets. But my people that elect me, that elect this body, that have to live in that street within the inner city, that they elect us to be their policymakers and enforcers, they don't have a good project.
Absolutely.
It's a shoddy project. And we're catching the heat for it when it's something that, because of a lack of communication, we could have avoided together. So let's open up the line of communication from now on. You know, by all means, let's take the federal money.
Sure.
You know, but let's give the end product to the citizen what they deserve.
I agree, and as a representative at PUB, I consider myself a public servant, so my best interest is to serve the people as well, and I agree. We'll do our very best to make sure that's coordinated.
Thank you so much.
Okay, does the commission?
I need a motion. This is
Motion
the
to
next.
approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 17.
Item 17, consideration and action on resolution number 2012-005 to institute a board member selection policy for the selection of appointees to City of Brownsville boards and committees.
Mayor and members of the commission, some time ago we held a workshop where we proposed a policy for the selection of members of city boards. We presented it to the commission, and the commission had a number of changes, and we came back, we incorporated all the suggestions which were made by the commission, and we're bringing that back to you now with the changes. Basically, we clarified that these rules apply to all city boards except where they would specifically conflict with state law or the Home Rule Charter. For example, the PUB, removal of PUB directors is governed by the city charter. However, this policy would apply to the way PUB board members are selected. We also clarified in terms of residents. I think there was some concern from the mayor that in certain cases where state law would permit it, we could have people that either resided in the city or whose principal place of business was in the city or worked in the city. We incorporated that change. Dr. Gowan, we incorporated the clarification you requested that the selection was going to be made by the City Commission in a workshop as the default mechanism, and unless if the City Commission specifically elected to appoint a panel, a nomination committee based on city staff, that's something they could do, but only by affirmative vote. And basically, we also incorporated the timeline where the 45 days, there would be a 45-day timeline for solicitation of applications. So I think we've incorporated the changes which were suggested by a number of the commissioners and the mayor at the workshop, and now we've brought this back to you for your consideration.
Okay, because this is such an important item, I'm going to allow any of the commissioners to make a comment. If anybody from the public wishes to make a short statement, I would welcome that.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Does ordinance supersede city charter?
No, the city charter would take priority over the ordinance, obviously.
Okay, so we're proposing an ordinance that's going to conflict with our city charter concerning the PUB appointments. Please clarify that to me.
Excuse me, Commissioner, I don't think that's correct. We're not doing that. In fact, what we're saying is specifically if there is an area of conflict, because there's different boards which are governed by different rules, we specifically state that in the event of a conflict between this policy and the city charter or between state law, those would control and not this
But does not the city charter already reflect appointments to the PUB? Doesn't it stipulate how that's done? Why are we doing that in an ordinance?
Well, the city charter states that the city commission will make the appointments. It doesn't, but the city commission would make the appointment. However, the city commission is free to set up the procedure in which nominations would be selected or made.
Mr. Saucy, we served on the Charter Review Committee together, and I specifically remember that the charter states how we can also remove PUB board members, and it's my understanding that this ordinance is allowing us to do that.
No, Commissioner, it's not. You're mistaken. And in fact, what I just said was that this ordinance would apply to the selection, but not to the removal, which would be governed by city charter. That's what I said, okay. Commissioner. So no, I mean, I understand your concerns, but no, that's not the case at all.
Commissioners, anyone else? I think most of us were here at the workshop. Anybody, Christopher James? Please.
First of all, Mayor, Commissioners, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I applaud all the work that y'all are doing on your commission. I applaud your council, Mark Saucy, and your staff for the work you're doing on something that you said it was a very important mission. I'm chair of Leadership Brownsville, and Leadership Brownsville is tasked with developing tomorrow's leaders, tomorrow's appointees, I think, to your committees. I think we've got about 5 of them here that are here to fulfill their civic requirement tonight. I'm also co-chair with Stephanie Reyes, I think a city grant writer in United Brownsville's Civic/Leader Committee. And I think that would make you one of my immediate superiors now, Mayor, and now with your recent appointment as the board. Congratulations. But as I said, I applaud what you're doing here. I think this policy item is an opportunity to enable the commission to timely, transparently, and qualitatively make their appointments. I consider them not just appointments, but I consider them leadership opportunities. I think we have a commissioner here that found his way onto the commission from serving on such a committee or a board. That's Commissioner Villarreal. I think this policy and the work that you're doing is also an opportunity to promote these vacancies in a better way to the public as well as yourselves. And the ways to do that, and I took your advice during that special meeting, Mayor, and got with City Secretary, and she explained to me the state of what y'all are facing with these. And I know you have a tremendous backlog of vacancies on very, very important boards and committees, some that may be even holding back business and development in the city, and I think it's important to get to those as quickly as possible. I think a lot of the concerns stated by some in the commission back then at that special committee with having equitable and fair representation on a district-by-district basis would be allayed, and some of those concerns would be done away with if y'all were to have some kind of a comprehensive calendar of these appointees that you have and terms that you have and when these terms are up, both for your sakes, so there's not a rushing to find appointees to these boards, and for the public's sake. And this is, I think, is key. Of all the committees that Estella, and I'm grateful to her, showed me, more than half, I'd say, don't have an adequate online presence online. And I know all of y'all are big on transparency. A part of transparency is to make these available to the public. I promise you, we have people here in the audience that are willing to serve and volunteer their time if only they knew what these boards and committees did by agenda items that aren't posted online and by the minutes of past meetings. You'd have them beating down your door for vacancies. And I think it's key that you remove these barriers to application quickly as possible. That's basically it, and I just hope you continue and incorporate a public component where the public knows what's available, when these are up, whether that be on City Channel, TV, on the city's website, perhaps a city Facebook page, where these departments and boards are posting when these vacancies are up, and far enough in advance, 30, 60 days, perhaps even incorporate it into the announcement portion of your agenda during a meeting, 30 or 60 days in advance, so these people can get to work, professionals or what have you, fixing their schedules and deciding whether they have time to volunteer or not.
Well, Estella, I think it's a very good point, well taken, and I think the more advanced notice we have, and Christopher, I want to thank you for your work and your efforts in Leadership Brownsville, and I would like for you to encourage your group to please apply, and we'll make it as easy as possible to make all those things available with plenty of time so they can consider what it is where their interests lie and where their efforts are going to be directed. So together we can do it, okay? Together.
I will, Mayor.
Okay.
I don't have to encourage them too much. The barbarians are at the gate. They're willing and ready to serve at your beck and call. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, it's an action item, so I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 18.
Item number 18, consideration and action to award street paving and drainage improvements for El Paso Road.
Honorable Mayor, City Commissioners, at the request of the Engineering Department, Carlos Lastra, the Purchasing and Contracting Services Department solicited formal invitation for bids for a contract for street paving and drainage improvements for El Paso Road. The legal advertisement appeared in the Brownsville Herald 2 times, once on November 20th, 2011, and the second one on November 27, 2011, and was posted to the city website. A total of 6 contractors requested and received bid packages. 5 acknowledgements were subsequently received, confirming bid participation. A pre-bid meeting was conducted on December the 6th, 2011, at the Purchasing and Contracting Services Department. 5 contractors were represented at the pre-bid meeting. 3 addendums were issued during the bidding process to clarify questions received at the pre-bid meeting regarding the bid form, updates to the Davis vacant wage rates, and to provide an example for Section 3 requirements. Those are some of the requirements from the department, the planning department. Sealed formal bids were open on December 21st, 2011. 5 bids were received by purchasing and tabulated and reviewed by engineering department and the project engineering firm. The staff recommendation is to award a contract for street paving and drainage improvements for El Paso Road to G&T Paving Contractors of Brownsville, Texas, the low responsible bidder, with a bid amount of $748,959.11. Completion time for this project shall be 120 consecutive calendar days. And funding for this project is available from the Community Development Block Grant, Fund Account 17-7332-7136 in the amount of $640,253.80. The Brownsville PUB will reimburse the City of Brownsville the utility improvement portion of this contract in the amount of $108,705.31. The administration of the Engineering Department concurs with this recommendation.
Approved. Second. Second. Any discussions?
Well, I have a question. I'm sorry, and maybe I missed something. Number 1 says the amount was $748,959, but then number 3 goes on to say the engineer's estimated cost is $1,005,000.
Well, that was just to demonstrate that the engineer's cost estimate for this project was at $1,005,000, but the bid came in under the recommended bid amount. So just to demonstrate that right now at this moment we're taking advantage of that. We're getting very good bids.
Well, the
that
city
Mr.
engineers
Gonzalez
projected-
underbid it?
Overall, it's a savings to the
Yeah,
city.
it's a
so
good.
it was the city estimated it was going to
Yeah.
be more than what the bids came in.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah, and it's a
I got
good
it.
company, and it's
reputable.
Yeah.
Pretty
No,
good.
I'm very familiar with that company. All those, I had a motion and a second discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 19, consideration and action to award a contract for the purchase, delivery, and training of backup software and hardware upgrade for the Management Information System Department.
At the request of the Management Information System Department, which is the MIS Department Director, Ms. Gail Brusiak, the Purchasing and Contracting Services Department solicited proposals from the Department of Information Resources, which is DIR, subject for this procurement. Under Section 791.025 of the Local Government Code, under interlocal cooperation contracts, the bidding requirement has been satisfied by the Texas Local Government Code. The MIS Department has worked together with representatives from Dell, the approved contractor under the Department of Information Resources, DIR agency, with whom the City of Brownsville has entered into an interlocal agreement to develop specifications for the backup software and hardware for this project. Now, the project consists of the purchase, delivery, installation, and training of the backup software and hardware for the MIS Department through Dell, which is the DIR awarded contractor. And there's a copy of the contract with DIR. Staff recommendation is to award a contract for the purchase, delivery, installation, and training for backup software and hardware upgrades for the Management Information System Department to Dell Incorporated of Round Rock, Texas, in the amount of $142,372.96. This procurement reflects interlocal cooperation contract from the Department of Information Resources, DIR contracting pricing. Funding for this procurement should be derived from account 788110-9203, which is the Enterprise Modernization Fund. The administration of the MIS department concurs with this recommendation.
I'll entertain a motion.
Any questions?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Robert, before we get into item number 20, I'd like to take the opportunity. This is the action item with regards to a term contract for collection of municipal court receivables, which are the tickets that are issued by the officers of this fine city and which have not been collected, and they're given out to either outsourcing to other individuals, whether they be companies or law firms, whatever it is. And so one of the things the legislature has done, and council, correct me if I'm wrong, is that in addition to collecting whatever fine you have, you're allowed, these individuals are allowed to collect 30% for their efforts to, and that's added on to the fine. And correct me, is that correct, Councilor?
That's correct.
When this item came before me and I was reviewing the agenda last week, and I realize you guys have gone through an arduous process, and I'm not here to disrespect any of the administrative process that had occurred, but it occurred to me that we have not gone in-house. I asked for the chronology of what has happened on the previous occasions, and I understand different firms have had this particular responsibility. I was going to talk to the commissioners in open court here to suggest something that if in fact, and I think I asked the city manager whether we had the capability, I'm suggesting that instead of outsourcing this particular service, that we should go in-house to try to collect it within ourselves, because first of all, I think that one of the things where we have kind of gone astray is that the reason that these officers are out there issuing these tickets is for the purpose of the safety of the citizens of Brownsville. It's not a revenue source, which you know, sometimes some people think that's why they're being issued, but that's not the purpose. Never was, never should be, and never. I don't think that that's what we really need to be doing. The second thing, I think under the economic times, to add the additional 30% burden to the taxpayer or whoever is being issued that ticket, we're not making any sense. We're having enough trouble making a living, much less trying to add a little bit more so that someone else, and I don't want to take any money away from anybody, any other entity, but I think it's an exercise that is, to me, it doesn't sit well to try to add a burden to the taxpayers or the citizens of this community. So I'd like to hear what you have to say is, if we go in-house, I mean, do you agree with or the city manager can tell us how, you know, their opinion?
I would like to support that. We did that.
Mayor, when citations are issued to citizens or visitors or anyone in our city by our police department, we do have a method in place where we attempt to assure that the person who issues a citation appears in court in a given, obviously they're given 10 days when the officer issues a citation. We do have a process in place where we eventually issue a warrant for their arrest. We do have warrant officers and people that are on staff that try to collect or have them appear in court to resolve their issues, understanding that they are entered in a computer system with an outstanding traffic citation. As the process continues, we eventually get to the process of without success, have to make a decision after 60 days, probably more than 60 days, assigning the citation to the firm that is helping us with the collection process. Yeah, and we feel that we extremely improved our system of collections. of sure people come to our municipal court to address their concern or address a concern about them getting issued a citation. With that all saying said, we are confident that we can initiate something in-house to address the issues of the system of having people report to our municipal courts to address their concerns, whether it's a traffic citation or any other type of charge that is a Class C offense.
Well, thank you. And I do want to urge the citizens or whoever it is, a violator of, to please pay or make arrangements to pay. The last thing we want to do is add burdens to your economical woes as we all have them presently. And I'm going to urge the municipal courts to please urge the citizens that it's a matter of safety. It's not a matter of trying to do anything else but trying to keep the citizens safe. So that being said, with the appropriate motion.
I think we need to have the agenda read, Mayor.
Okay.
And I have a
Go
question.
ahead. Go ahead.
Are you appropriately staffed for this? If you're going to take on this endeavor, are you appropriately staffed?
We are staffed at this point to address issues and citations related to the initial stage of a person failing to appear in court. We do have a process in place where we try to get them to appear in court. We do have warrant officers. We organize at times.
I understand
warrant
that process, Charlie. What I'm talking about is the billing. We
would have to, and we've been discussing this, and I think we brought this up the last time we had this issue. We would have to do some adjustments, possibly some more software, and find a way to identify and locate people that may have moved. We do this with our EMS collections. Our EMS people are very thorough at doing this. We may have to hire a staff or two. We really have to build up to that and study that and get together with the judges and our municipal court staff. But if that's what the commission wishes, I think it's time for us to be able to work on something like this, yes.
Okay, and my proposal would simply be this, is I would like to see how that system works, Commissioner, for let's say a year, and they come back and report to us. So right now, the collections, I reviewed them, is less than 20%, regardless of who's doing them. And so, and like the helpline, have we had some response to the city through the helpline? How many calls are we getting through the helpline?
Well, we're up to 200 calls a day, sir.
Okay. So I think we need to be responsive to the citizens.
291 today.
Okay.
So.
I was one looking for you, and
Sorry.
I got that number.
Mr. Kabler, didn't we implement a comparable policy by going in-house with the collections for weedy lots? And
Yes.
And has that been successful? Have we
Yes.
tracked that?
Yes, ma'am. That is successful, and it may be that we have to work with our attorneys as well, generating letters and things like that. We'll have to brainstorm this, obviously, but we feel confident that we can get something going. And like the mayor noted, that we'll give it a one-year trial. If we see that it's not working, it's not feasible, we can come back to the commission with our information, statistical information, to see what we've done. But I think what the mayor is saying about the fact that we need to encourage people to come to and address their issues relating to this is very important. I think there's some laws that have been in play. There's a law that's called scuff law right now, where people go, for example, to renew their license plates and things like that. And if it's captured that they have an issue with the court, they're not allowed to renew, and they're guided toward whether our municipal court or some of the entities' municipal court system to address that. So we see that that's effective. And there's other laws and things that are going to come into place. I think they're going to help us with this.
If you'd like, I can.
Yeah, I want to make sure the commissioners get their ability to put their 2 cents in.
I've always been pro in-housing as much as we can.
Yes,
We've
sir.
been successful with it at Public Works, within other projects. At some point within the process, is there a point, as obviously, we go out to these firms, and they're attorneys firms that do these collection for us. Is there a point in the process where the need for that attorney's representation to go in order for us to be able to collect? And I'll tell you why I'm getting at that. Because obviously these are law firms and people that are experienced in doing this. Obviously, you wouldn't go out to them if at some point you were going to need some sort of legal representation. What I'm getting at is if we're going to in-house that, Are we gonna have to be taking up legal's time from everything that they have to do already to be able to file, to be able to do something here within the process that requires the use of an attorney or the legal staff?
Well, first of all, the people who are bidding are not all attorneys. They're collection agencies and attorneys. So what we've done over the last 4 to 5 years.
Could you get closer to the microphone?
Yes. What we've done over the last 4 to 5 years is increase our collection efforts because the state mandated it. They mandated all the courts and most of the major municipal courts to increase their collection efforts. We had to come up with a collection improvement plan, and we have a full schedule. The first thing we do is we make a call, we send a letter, then we send a summons, we send a warrant after that, and we try periodical roundups. So we've increased our efforts dramatically. And one of the last and the best one that we did was the scofflaw. We made an agreement, y'all made this agreement with the county, and we've been picking up lots there. So there can be a model where you give, right now the contract is that we have to turn this over after 60 days, 60 or 90 days, I think. And you could either extend the period of time that we have to work on these cases, or you can suspend it, not renew the contract and give us a chance to increase. We have a collection department in municipal court. We've started, in addition to fines and things that we collect false alarm fees, we're collecting a couple of other things. So we have a little mini collection department in our court. So that can be expanded pretty easy.
Yeah, and I think also my biggest point really is, I realize we could add a burden to the citizens, but now it doesn't seem the right time. We have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of money to expend in so many different ways that to add something more to the folks out there, when we could try to do better and cooperate a little better and try to work as a community a little bit better, I'd like to give that a chance.
We would fully support that proposition.
One more question. Sure. Is this a customary practice? Are there other municipalities our size or within this that do this practice?
I think there are probably. I don't know if they're the same size, but
no. But in other words, do you have a concrete where this such city in Texas does this? In other words, doesn't go to a firm for it, that they do it in-house within the municipality?
No, I don't.
I don't think I can mention one, Rick, but I think what happens is we're seeing a lot of municipalities doing a lot of in-house stuff because of the economics. It saves money. We're going to have to learn to be a little bit more efficient with the same amount of people that we have. And if anybody's noticed poor Pete over there, he's still worried about his money over there.
But, we actually do have a collection department.
Right. Like I said, these are economic times that require us to kind of tighten our belts and try to figure out. And again, the guys that are going to pay the money are the people that have these tickets. I mean, and that's where, if they don't, most of these folks don't have the money, so they have to make payment.
You're preaching to the choir on that one, Mayor. One ticket can amount to almost 10% of one of our normal citizens' annual salary. Okay, so, and adding 30%, you're right, Mayor.
Yeah.
We will do everything we can. We'll get together with Charlie and give it a shot. We've already geared up for it, to tell you the truth, in execution of the plan that we were made to do by the state.
Judge, trust me when I don't mean any disrespect by, the comments and for the fine work that you guys do at municipal court. You've always been real accessible. My thing is I just don't want to add a burden to your department. Or to, in other words, where we find ourselves where, yes, collection, in other words, if the collections are coming in and it justifies bringing in another employee because the collections are that,
exactly
where we can justify an employee, by all means, let's in-house.
That's exactly.
But what I'm getting at is, in other words, municipalities all over the state do this for a reason. Because obviously there is, you wouldn't be outsourcing it. Everybody in the state wouldn't be outsourcing it if there wasn't a reason to.
So we can work with your proposition.
I have a quick question, Judge. Do we already apply a late fee to?
Yes. When somebody doesn't appear to court, we file a charge against them, another charge, when it's a standard $200 fine. we issue a warrant, there's a $25 warrant fee or maybe $50 added on to that. Then you had, after the 60 days, there's a 30% more is added on to that. So there is, it's almost like double penalizing them. And the last time I stood here talking about this, I tried to bring this to the attention of the commission. So I'm thrilled that you're.
Well, like I said, I just looked at it and I just know how tough. I mean, I see a lot of people in my office and everybody's having a tough time. And you know, right now is a good time to start figuring out, we need to help them, they need to help us, all the way around.
There may be an issue, depending on how it's considered in-house versus outsourcing, on whether we might have to charge the 30% or not. That's something we'll have to look at. But I have a feeling that if it's in-house, we won't have to do it.
I suspect that that's what we're going to do, okay?
There's a statute that we can review.
Perhaps they could come back in 6 months and let us know how it's
Yeah, I
going.
mean, we'll monitor this, and I mean, like I said, it's not something that I don't want to lose money for the city, but by the same token, I don't want to add a burden to the taxpayer or to the citizen out there. And let's see how we can do this together, and I feel very comfortable in at least making a shot at it.
We've been generating some detailed reports in conjunction with the Office of Court Administration with the state of Texas. And it shows breakdowns based on time and the collection rates and stuff. So we can provide those to you, to y'all and have some kind of report in 6 months.
We'll monitor that, guys, if that's okay with y'all. Okay? But now we have to read the item number 20.
Award a term contract for collection of municipal court receivables.
Okay, and I think the council, would it be that the contract be awarded in-house, or how would we?
I think we would have to deny.
It would have to be denied? Okay, so
Indefinitely.
I would entertain a motion to deny.
I make a motion to deny that the contract be awarded.
Okay, do I hear a second?
It won't be awarded, it'll just be taken care of in-house.
Right.
No, she's saying deny.
Yeah, deny the award of the
Okay,
contract.
so is there a second or not? Okay, I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Nay.
Okay, one nay.
I'm also a nay.
2 nays. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, I think it's Commissioner Longoria time.
Move to adjourn?
Here a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. I'm sorry, before we leave, Commissioner, would you like to announce that to the folks real quick?
2012 Charro Days Classic. All are invited by the Brownsville Marathoners Running Club 33rd Annual 5K and 1 mile run walk during Sombrero Fest. Various categories. The event takes place Saturday, February 25th at 7:30 a.m. For more information, you could call 542-8967 or 492-5238.
And I apologize, Commissioner, I'm sorry.